Of Willow Creek, strange things had been happening. People whispered of eerie lights in the sky and mysterious disappearances in the dead of night. Some said it was just superstition, but others believed something sinister was at play. One fateful evening, a young couple, Sarah and Mark, decided to go camping in the nearby woods. As they sat by the crackling fire, gazing up at the stars, they noticed a strange, pulsating light in the sky. It seemed to be getting closer and closer, until suddenly, it disappeared behind the trees. Feeling uneasy, Sarah suggested they pack up and head back to town. But before they could even gather their belongings, a deafening sound filled the air. They looked up to see a massive, metallic object hovering above them, its lights blindingly bright. Terrified, Sarah and Mark tried to run, but it was no use. A beam of light shot down from the craft, enveloping them in its glow. They felt themselves being lifted off the ground, their bodies paralyzed with fear. As they were carried up into the alien ship, they saw strange, otherworldly creatures with elongated limbs and glowing eyes. The beings seemed to communicate telepathically, their voices echoing in Sarah and Mark's minds. They were taken to a cold, sterile room, where they were subjected to painful experiments and probing. The creatures seemed to be studying them, as if they were nothing more than lab rats. Days turned into weeks, and Sarah and Mark lost all sense of time. They were kept in separate cells, unable to communicate with each other. They were fed strange, tasteless food and subjected to endless tests and examinations. But one night, as Sarah lay in her cell, she heard a voice in her head. It was Mark, reaching out to her through the darkness. Together, they hatched a plan to escape their captors and find a way back to Earth. With newfound determination, they managed to overpower their guards and make their way to the ship's control room. They activated the ship's engines and set a course for home, praying they would make it back in one piece. As the ship hurtled through space, Sarah and Mark clung to each other, their hearts pounding with fear and excitement. And finally, after what felt like an eternity, they saw the familiar sight of Earth's atmosphere looming before them. With a final burst of speed, the ship descended towards the ground, landing with a jolt in the woods where their nightmare had begun. They stumbled out, weak and disoriented, but alive. As they made their way back to Willow Creek, they knew they would never be the same. The experience had changed them in ways they couldn't fully comprehend. And as they looked up at the stars that night, they couldn't help but wonder what other horrors lay beyond the reaches of space.